Welcome to Unit 3, Logic and Reasoning. These are the contents what we are going to see in this initially in this unit. Okay, it is the first part of your syllabus topic, knowledge. Fine. So let us see the introduction to it. What do you mean by knowledge? What does need to represent the knowledge is my first question. Why we are dealing with the term knowledge? Okay, there are various search techniques that we have seen in our previous units. These search techniques acquire information from environment. Further, using that information, it builds knowledge with respect to certain problem. This knowledge is exploited further with actions and decisions. Like from search technique, you get certain output. That output is nothing but your knowledge. Okay, this knowledge is exploited further. Fine. Actions are taken on that knowledge. Certain decisions are made with respect to knowledge. Knowledge should be represented properly. Okay, that's why we need to represent knowledge properly. Fine. Now, what do you mean by knowledge? I can see it is nothing but it is data or it is information. Okay, this data or information helps us in making certain decisions and resolving problems. We'll just see an example. Okay, a teacher is there. Okay, she wants to judge the performance of a particular student. What she will do is, in order to judge the performance, her judgment will be based on either previous performance of the child, okay, whatever previously he has performed, or the information given by the other teachers. So using the previous information or by the information given by other teacher, it forms knowledge for that particular teacher so that she can judge that student. Okay, so this knowledge can be considered in order to make relevant decisions, like what is the how is the child, whether he is clever, whether he is weak. This kind of problems can be solved. To solve the problems, knowledge is needed, and this knowledge must be represented in computers. So you can see that knowledge is nothing but it is set of patterns or associations. In simple terms, it can be derived from data or information. This data or information helps us in making decision and resolving problems. Okay, so we have seen what is the need of representing knowledge. We've seen in short what do you mean by knowledge. Now, the moment you represent the knowledge, okay, further is you require reasoning also and you require logic also. So what do you mean by reasoning? Reasoning is required to establish a relationship between data and final facts. Like this was the initial data with me, given by the other teacher or given by the previous record. So using that data, I arrive at final fact. Final fact will be how is the child, whether he is clever, whether he is not clever, whether he needs remedial classes, and this kind of decisions I can take. So what do I derive? I derive final facts. Okay. So reasoning, how do I derive final facts? Is using reasoning based on the knowledge extracted. Based on the available knowledge represented, the way we conclude on different aspects of the problem. Okay. So if I conclude that that student is clever, so how can I conclude this? I can conclude it through reasoning. So I use existing knowledge in order to find those reasons and in order to arrive at the conclusions. So I can say reasoning is the way to infer facts from existing data. So I can reach to certain conclusion based on the data available with me, based on the knowledge available with me. General process of thinking rationally to find valid conclusions. Inferences means conclusion. So that is nothing but reasoning. Now the point comes, what do you mean by logic? These terms you should know. These are certain keywords. So what is logic? It makes knowledge representative. Okay. Using logic, we can represent knowledge in a proper format. Okay. So logic is going to be the second part of our we will see in further videos. Okay. It plays important role in reasoning. So in order to do reasoning, I require logic. What is knowledge representation? It represents it. So whatever knowledge I have to represent it proper format, because based on that knowledge, I am going to derive at the facts. Okay. So knowledge representation is very important. So I have an intelligent agent which needs knowledge, and that intelligent agent is going to do the decisions. It is going to take the decisions, and it is going to do reasoning. Okay. So all these things are required by that knowledge agent. Okay, we will see that knowledge agent further. So in this slide we have seen what do you mean by knowledge, what is the need to represent knowledge, What is knowledge? It is nothing but information or data available with us. Fine. Using this, we derive at certain conclusions, or we get certain facts, okay, using knowledge. So knowledge should be represented in proper format, because using this knowledge we are going to generate the facts, okay. So we have reasoning, okay. In order to arrive at the facts, we need reasoning, and knowledge should be represented in a proper format, okay. So here we are seeing how knowledge and intelligence are related to each other. So you can see, in knowledge, if we have knowledge, then and then we can have intelligent behavior. So this is knowledge, okay. If knowledge is there, then and then you can expect action will be done intelligently. If knowledge is not there, then actions are not done intelligently. So knowledge and intelligence are side by side. Without knowledge, you cannot expect intelligence. This is there in human beings also, and similarly in machines also. So if we want our machines to take certain decisions, it should have knowledge and it should have data. How will it get data? It will get data through sensors. So it will sense the data and it will have the knowledge, and further it can take the proper action, okay. So knowledge and intelligence work side by side. So we have knowledge representation. What do you mean by knowledge representation? Suppose I give you fruits, okay, and I ask you to arrange it in the basket. It's a very simple task, right? But if I ask certain constraints, okay, constraints, that is nothing but rules. Like, I give you that size of fruit should be, I give you certain constraints with respect to size of fruits, with respect to quantity, with respect to basket size. If these constraints are added, then it becomes, arranging the fruits in the basket becomes little tricky. So knowledge representation should be able to handle this sort of environment, where limited or partial information is available in the beginning and later more information is evolved, okay. So what we have in this kind of representation, initially we have little information, and then this information gets evolved further. So you can see in the diagram, for knowledge representation we should have domain knowledge, okay. Domain knowledge, like the problem which you are solving with respect to what domain, okay. So that domain of the knowledge of that domain we should have. Secondly, we should have raw data, okay. Thirdly, perceptions. Perceptions is like what you percept of it, okay. Then using all these, using perception, you do reasoning, you get a certain internal representation, and using this internal representation further you derive final fact. So this is the diagram for knowledge building, okay. So you can say it represents information about real world, so that computer can understand and utilize this knowledge in order to solve complex real world problems, okay. For example, which complex real world problems I need to solve? For example, medical diagnosis is there, okay. Diagnosis of a medical condition, like a particular like, so if I go for this problem statement, okay, problem statement is diagnosis of a medical condition, okay. So here, what is the domain with me? Medical. So I should have at least little knowledge of the domain. So what is domain in this case? Medical, okay. Then I should have raw data, like raw data in the sense, what is that particular patient suffering with? Stomach ache or backache, or exactly what it is, okay. So whatever symptoms are there, that will form my raw data. That will form my perception. Whatever symptoms are there, that will form my perception. And whatever raw data is there, like with respect to medical, I should have certain raw data, like if backache, then so and so issue. If stomach ache, then so and so issue. Like certain kind of prediction should be there, that I'll call as raw data. And perception, like what is that particular patient suffering from? That is nothing but perception. So using all these three things, we form reasoning, okay. And using this we get internal representation. So from internal representation, finally we go towards final fact. So it should be such that machine should be able to learn from the knowledge and experience, so that it can behave intelligently like humans, okay. So humans behave intelligently, so same we want machines to behave. So in order to do that, we require machines to behave intelligently, right, like humans. So for that, knowledge should be represented in a proper format, so that machine should be able to take action, okay. So the different kinds of knowledge that is needed is, first of all, I need object. What do you mean by object? Any entity in the real world domain, any object. Like if I talk about hospital management, the patient is an object, doctor is an object, right? Events is nothing but actions, okay. Those are nothing but actions. Third is performance. Actions in the sense, patient comes to the doctor, patient visits doctor, doctor checks the patient in this fashion. Performance. Behavior involves, it is the behavior which involves knowledge about how to do the things. Okay, so performance is nothing but the behavior which involves knowledge about how to do various things. Okay, meta knowledge, metadata. Metadata is nothing but data about data. Okay, so it is knowledge about what we know. Next is facts. What is fact? Fact is nothing but the truth of the real world. Okay, truth, what we represent. And finally, knowledge base. Knowledge base is represented as KB. It is nothing but the central part of knowledge base agents. It is the way how information is represented. So whatever knowledge you have, you are going to represent in knowledge base. In a further video, we are going to learn what is knowledge base. So here we have seen why we need knowledge representation should be properly done. Okay. So in our next video, we will see various approaches how to represent the knowledge. Thank you.